getting more sports involved. These countries, they might not have a big infrastructure around swimming as an example, so actually having different sports where these other countries can get involved. And then from these other countries, it's about identifying athletes early, giving them the training opportunities and everything to then go on to their classification with an intellectual impairment. As a victim, I've been watching her in Paris. Erin Benjamin, whose organisation has been helping support her, says she's an inspiration for people with an II and intellectual impairment.
She has proven that athletes with II can achieve. They have the ability, they have the potential. So all the people who believe that it is not possible for athletes with II to go beyond a certain level in sports, she has proven them wrong. Deepti has paved the path for other athletes. She's opened doors, and we are hoping that more athletes will follow in her footsteps and make a name for themselves.
The next Paralympian was presented by me, Dan Pepper, and BT by Simon Labour.
This is the BBC World Service, and on the inquiry this week,
I'm William Corby. A secret deal between the Catholic Church and China is up for renewal. A deal that profoundly affects who China's 13 million Catholics answer to. Is Pope Francis betraying China's Catholics?
The inquiry at bbcworldservice.com/inquiry. In 30 minutes, the explanation.
I'm Claire Graham, and I'll be talking to Anthony Zurcher, the BBC senior North American correspondent, about how the partisan divisions in American politics now seem to be playing out within the US Supreme Court and the push for reform.
This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station. On From Our Own Correspondent after the news, how the courts are shaping politics in Bangkok.
Thailand's top judges have now become the guardians of a monarchy which exercises enormous, undefined powers. It is the judges who maintain the strictest possible guardrails around elected government.
Seeds of hope in Senegal as it tries to build a great green wall for Africa.
In contrast to the barren earth elsewhere, the trees in this spot were surrounded by undergrowth, and grass, dry yellow grass but still grass, grew on the ground between them.
And the election year souvenirs overtaken by events in the United States.
I've lost $10,000 because Joe Biden dropped out, he told me as he arranged a pile of baseball caps for sale. We ordered a load of Joe Biden for President t-shirts. Now, we can't sell them.
All that on From Our Own Correspondent with me, Pascal Harter, after this bulletin of BBC World News.
Hello, I'm Neil Nunes with the BBC News. The German authorities say police have arrested a man suspected of carrying out a mass stabbing in the western state of Solingen on Friday night. The arrest was announced by the Interior Minister of North Rhine-Westphalia, Herbert Rohr. Sanjay Dasgupta has this report.
The minister expressed relief, saying the police had spent the day following a hot lead that led them to the aquarium. A major manhunt had been launched, and the police had made 2 other arrests before getting the man they think is responsible. Police authorities have been tight-lipped so far, so there's no way to confirm widely circulating report that the suspect gave himself up with the words, "I am the man you will believe." 3 people were killed and 8 others wounded in random stabbings this Friday at a festival where Solingen was celebrating its anniversary.
The Islamic State group had claimed responsibility for the attack. The Israeli military says it's striking Hezbollah targets in Lebanon after detecting moves to fire missiles into Israel. It claimed Hezbollah had been preparing to launch an extensive attack. Lebanese civilians have been warned to immediately leave areas where the group is operating. Sirens are sounding in northern Israel. Tensions escalated sharply after Israel killed a Hezbollah commander in Beirut almost a month ago. French media reports say the Russian founder of the Telegram messaging service, Pavel Durov, has been detained at Le Bourget airport when his private jet landed there from Azerbaijan. The reports say Mr. Durov is accused of refusing to cooperate with investigations into the use of Telegram by criminals. Darren Luciadis, who's written extensively about Telegram, says Mr. Durov was successful before founding the messaging service.
He already created one company that was kind of the Russian Facebook called VK. He very rarely appears in public, but has started to appear more, including with an hour-long interview with Tucker Carlson earlier this year, which led to some suggestions that he was courting the kind of radical right-wing conservative audiences that tend to favour Telegram in countries like the US and the UK and also Europe.
NASA says the two astronauts stranded on the International Space Station by their faulty Boeing spacecraft must wait until February before they can return to the Earth. Barry Wilmore and Sunita Williams are meant to spend just 8 days aboard the aircraft. NASA's administrator is Bill Nelson.
The decision to keep Butch and Sonny aboard the International Space Station and bring the Boeing Starliner home uncrewed is a result of a commitment to safety. Our core value is safety, and it is our North Star.
World News from the BBC. Canada's Industrial Relations Board has ordered striking railway workers to return to work by Monday and has imposed a binding arbitration to settle labour disputes at two major freight carriers that had paralysed the vital network. The Teamsters Union said it would comply but would also file an appeal. The Canadian National Railway and Canadian Pacific Kansas City knocked out more than 9,000 workers on Thursday after talks broke down. The world's second largest country relies heavily on rail freight. The Russian governor of the border region of Belgorod says Ukrainian shelling overnight has killed 5 people and wounded 12 others. Vyacheslav Danikov said 4 adults were in a serious condition. 3 children were among the casualties. He's imposed a state of emergency in Belgorod, partly due to Ukraine's increasing bombardments since it launched its ground offensive in the Kursk region earlier this month. The French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin says police have arrested a man suspected of attacking a synagogue in the southern city of La Grande-Motte. Mr. Darmanin commended the police for their professionalism. Earlier, the Prime Minister Gabriel Attal said the explosion there could have been even more serious.
Nous avons échappé à un drame.
We have avoided an absolute tragedy. The commander of the gendarmerie told us that, according to the initial video surveillance, the assailant was extremely determined, and if the synagogue had been full of worshippers at the time, or people had got out of the building in the first few minutes, there would probably have been casualties.
Anthony Fauci, the man who steered the United States through the COVID pandemic, is recovering after being hospitalized with West Nile virus. The 83-year-old former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases says he has no idea how he contracted the virus. BBC News.
Hello and welcome to From Our Own Correspondent here on the BBC World